When we talk about becoming the best version of ourselves, we often think it begins with drastic change, with reinventing everything about who we are. But the truth is, transformation does not begin with perfection. It begins with self-acceptance. For the next 30 days, if you are truly committed to this challenge, your first task is not to fix yourself, but to embrace yourself. Because how can you build on a foundation that you reject? How can you nurture a soul that you constantly criticize? Growth begins the moment you stop running from who you are and start standing still in your own skin, saying, "This is me, and I am enough to begin." Many of us spend our lives waiting for the perfect moment, when we lose weight, when we achieve more, when we look a certain way, when we feel ready. But that moment never comes, because perfection is a mirage, always one step further no matter how hard we chase it. What does come, however, is the moment when we pause, look in the mirror, and instead of listing all that is missing, we start acknowledging all that is already there. That is the moment real transformation takes root. Self-acceptance is not about being complacent. It doesn't mean you stop striving or stop dreaming. It simply means that you no longer hate the version of yourself that is trying to grow. Imagine a child learning how to walk. You wouldn't scold the child for stumbling. You would cheer them on with every little step. Yet, when it comes to ourselves, we forget that encouragement fuels growth far more than criticism. For 30 days, encourage yourself as if you are that child learning to walk again. Celebrate every little step, no matter how small, because progress, not perfection, is the true measure of change. The scars you carry, whether visible or invisible, are not weaknesses. They are stories, lessons, reminders that you have survived. To reject them is to reject your own resilience. What if instead of hiding them, you wore them with pride? What if you allowed them to remind you of your strength rather than your pain? The best version of you is not someone flawless. It is someone fearless enough to embrace the flaws and still shine. We live in a world that constantly tells us who we should be. Social media whispers that you must look a certain way. Society suggests you must succeed by a certain age. People around you sometimes make you feel like you are not enough, not worthy, not ready. But this 30-day challenge is not about meeting their expectations. It is about meeting yourself. And meeting yourself begins with honesty. Ask yourself, who am I when no one is watching? What do I love about me that the world overlooks? Which parts of me have I silenced because I fear judgment? In 30 days, I want you to begin answering those questions with courage, not shame. Do not underestimate the power of small beginnings. Even the act of waking up each morning and choosing to say, "I am enough today," even as I grow, shifts something inside you. It takes courage to face yourself, because it means looking at your reflection without filters, without excuses, and without pretense. But once you learn to stand tall in your truth, change becomes a natural extension of who you are, not a punishment for who you are not. So, for these 30 days, let your starting point be acceptance. Accept that you are on a journey, and journeys are not meant to be perfect. They are meant to be lived. Accept that your worth is not tied to achievements, appearances, or opinions. Accept that the best version of you is not a stranger waiting at the end of 30 days, but the very person standing here right now, willing to try, willing to grow, and willing to begin. Excuses are the silent chains that keep us from moving forward. They are soft, comforting lies we tell ourselves to avoid the discomfort of growth. And if you are serious about this 30-day challenge, then one of the greatest commitments you must make is to break free from those chains. Every time you whisper, "I can't," you close a door before you even try to open it. Every time you say, "Maybe tomorrow," you hand over the power of today. For the next 30 days, imagine what your life could look like if you stopped silencing your potential with excuses and started asking yourself a new question. Not, "Can I?" but, "How can I?" Excuses often come dressed as reasons. We say we don't have enough time, yet hours slip away scrolling through screens. We say we don't have the resources, but what we truly lack is the resourcefulness to make use of what we already have. We say we are not ready, but readiness is not a state you wait for. It is a state you create. Behind every excuse lies fear. The fear of failing, the fear of being judged, the fear of stepping into the unknown. And yet, it is within the unknown that transformation takes place. If you are not willing to step into uncertainty, you cannot step into the best version of you. Think of the people you admire, the ones who inspire you. Do you think they had a perfect path laid out before them? Or did they rise because they dared to move even when fear was loud, even when excuses knocked on their door? The truth is, greatness is never born from convenience. It is born from the choice to act, even when every excuse tells you not to. In these 30 days, if you can silence that inner voice of limitation, you will hear another voice emerge. The voice of possibility. The voice that whispers, "You are capable of more." Excuses also have a way of making us believe we are protecting ourselves. We say no to challenges because we don't want to fail. We avoid risks because we don't want to fall. But what we fail to see is that every excuse protects us not from pain, but from growth. It shields us from the lessons that only mistakes can teach, from the strength that only trials can build. You will never know how far you can go if you never take the first step. For these 30 days, give yourself the permission to try, even if you stumble, even if you don't get it right the first time. The courage to try is already a victory over excuses. There is a power that comes from shifting your language. The moment you replace "I can't" with "How can I?" you open a door for solutions instead of walls of limitations. You start to see opportunities where once you saw obstacles. You begin to take responsibility instead of surrendering to helplessness. Responsibility may feel heavy at first, but it is the weight that builds strength. Excuses, on the other hand, may feel light, but they keep you weak. Choose the weight that strengthens you. So, when the alarm rings in the morning and your mind says, "I'm too tired," remind yourself that the best version of you is waiting beyond that moment of resistance. When the opportunity comes and you hear yourself saying, "I'm not ready," remember that readiness is born in action, not hesitation. And when fear whispers, "What if I fail?" answer boldly, "What if I fly?" For 30 days, walk with this mindset, and you will begin to see how much of your life has been limited not by your ability, but by your excuses. Breaking the chains of excuses is not about being fearless. It is about feeling the fear, hearing the doubts, and choosing to move anyway. It is about replacing hesitation with action, weakness with resilience, and excuses with possibilities. The best version of you is not waiting for the perfect conditions. It is waiting for your decision. And that decision begins the moment you stop saying, "I can't," and start asking, "How?" When people dream of becoming the best version of themselves, they often imagine grand gestures, radical changes, overnight success, dramatic shifts that prove they have transformed. But life doesn't work like that. The truth is, real transformation is not found in intensity, but in consistency. Anyone can push hard for a single day, or even a week, but the true test of commitment is what you choose to do every single day. Even when no one is watching, even when motivation fades, in these 30 days, it is not about how much you can do in one powerful moment, but about the small, steady steps you take each day that build into something extraordinary. Think about water dripping on a stone. One drop seems insignificant, but over time, those drops carve rivers and reshape landscapes. That is the power of consistency. You may think that reading for 10 minutes, exercising for 20 minutes, or journaling for 5 minutes makes no difference. But do it every single day for 30 days, and you will see how the small acts you once dismissed become the very foundation of your growth. Change is never sudden, it is gradual. It is the accumulation of countless small choices that lead to transformation. We live in a culture that glorifies intensity. We are told to work harder, push further, go bigger, but intensity burns fast. It exhausts you, drains you, and often leaves you quitting midway. Consistency, however, builds momentum slowly but surely. It may not give you the thrill of instant results, but it gives you the gift of lasting change. The best version of you is not created in a day of extreme effort, but in 30 days of steady dedication. Consistency is also a form of self-respect. It means you keep promises to yourself, even when it's inconvenient. When you say you will show up, and you actually do, you begin to trust yourself again. And trust is the foundation of confidence. Too often, we feel unworthy not because others doubt us, but because we constantly break our own commitments. For these 30 days, let your consistency rebuild that trust. Let every small action remind you that you are someone who follows through, someone who does not give up on themselves. But let us be honest, consistency is not glamorous. There will be days when you feel tired, when the results seem invisible, when you wonder if the effort is worth it. Those are the moments that test your resolve. And it is in those moments that the best version of you is quietly being built. The breakthrough does not happen when it is easy. It happens when you choose to persist despite the difficulty. Discipline may not feel rewarding in the moment, but it always pays dividends in the long run. If you want to see the power of consistency, look at nature. The sun rises every morning. The seasons change every year. The waves meet the shore without fail. Nature teaches us that consistency is what sustains life. In the same way, when you make small daily habits, non-negotiable, they sustain your growth. You don't need to wait for perfect motivation or extraordinary willpower. You just need to show up again and again until showing up becomes a part of who you are. So, for the next 30 days, choose one small action that aligns with the best version of you. Do it daily, without negotiation, without excuse. Money. It may be as simple as drinking water, writing down 3 things you're grateful for, or taking a few minutes to reflect on your day. Whatever it is, let consistency carry you forward. Because in the end, success is not about intensity, it is about persistence. The best version of you is not created in a single leap, but in the steady steps you take, one day at a time. Every one of us carries a story of pain. It may be the pain of rejection, the pain of failure, the pain of loss, or the pain of being misunderstood. And often, we let that pain define us. We allow it to cage us, to silence us, to convince us that we are not capable of moving forward. But if this 30-day challenge is about becoming the best version of yourself, then it is also about making a choice to turn pain into power. Because pain itself is not the enemy. It is the raw material out of which strength is built, if only you decide to shape it that way. Think about the times in your life when you grew the most. Were they the easy moments or the difficult ones? Growth rarely comes in comfort. It comes in discomfort, in struggle. In those nights when you thought you couldn't carry on, but did anyway. Pain has always been your silent teacher. It teaches resilience. It teaches empathy. And it teaches you to value joy more deeply because you have tasted sorrow. For these 30 days, instead of running from your pain, lean into it. Ask it what it came to teach you, and let that lesson guide you forward. When rejection knocks on your door, don't see it as proof that you are unworthy. See it as redirection, pushing you toward a path that was always meant for you. When failure stares you in the face, don't let it shrink your courage. See it as evidence that you dared to try, that you were brave enough to step out when others stayed silent. When loss finds its way into your life, as painful as it is, allow it to remind you of the fragility of time and the importance of living fully. Right here and right now. Pain is not something to be buried. Buried pain festers. It turns into bitterness and robs you of your strength. But acknowledged pain transforms. When you face it, when you accept it, when you decide to create meaning from it, that pain becomes your power. Some of the most inspiring people you know did not rise in spite of their pain, but because of it. They chose not to be broken by what hurt them, but to be built by it. That choice is available to you too. These 30 days are not about pretending your wounds don't exist. They are about looking at those wounds and saying, I will heal, and I will rise. The scars you carry can either be reminders of your suffering or symbols of your survival. Which one they become is entirely up to you. Every setback you have faced can be fuel if you let it. Every no you have heard can push you to create your own yes. Every disappointment can sharpen your hunger for something greater. That is how pain turns into power. But here is the truth: turning pain into power is not easy. It requires patience, courage, and the willingness to walk through darkness before you see light. Yet, each time you do, you emerge stronger than before. Each time you face what hurt you, you gain another layer of resilience, another layer of compassion, another layer of wisdom. And these are the very qualities that shape the best version of you. So in these 30 days, don't avoid your pain. Don't numb it. Don't deny it. And don't let it paralyze you. Use it. Let it be the reason you rise earlier, work harder, dream bigger, and love deeper. Let it remind you that you are still here, still breathing, still capable of becoming more. Because the best version of you is not someone untouched by pain. It is someone who has taken every wound, every scar, and every heartbreak and transformed them into a fire that lights the way forward. If you truly want to become the best version of yourself, then gratitude must become your daily practice. Too often, we believe transformation only comes from doing more, achieving more, becoming more. But in reality, transformation begins with noticing what is already here, what is already working, what is already beautiful in your life. For these 30 days, gratitude is not just a feeling you stumble upon when good things happen. It is a discipline, a conscious choice to shift your focus from what you lack to what you have. Gratitude is powerful because it changes the way you see the world. Without it, you live in a constant state of scarcity, always chasing, always feeling incomplete, always waiting for the next achievement to bring happiness. With it, you realize that even in your struggles, even in your ordinary moments, there are blessings hidden in plain sight. Gratitude is the lens that allows you to see abundance where others see emptiness. And when you start to see life that way, you begin to carry yourself differently, with more peace, more resilience, and more joy. Sometimes we think gratitude is only for the big things, the promotion, the success, the milestones. But true gratitude is found in these smallest details. The breath you just took, the sunrise that greeted you this morning, the meal that nourished you, the person who smiled at you when you needed it most. Gratitude teaches you that no moment is too small to appreciate, and no blessing is too ordinary to acknowledge. When you practice it daily, you start realizing how rich your life already is, even before you add anything new to it. But gratitude is not just about appreciating the good. It is also about finding meaning in the difficult. It means saying thank you for the challenges, because they shaped your strength. Thank you for the failures, because they revealed your courage. Thank you for the losses, because they taught you the value of time and love. Gratitude transforms pain into purpose, just as it transforms scarcity into abundance. The best version of you is not the one who has a perfect life, but the one who can find something to be grateful for, even when life feels imperfect. gratitude also keeps you grounded. In the pursuit of growth, it's easy to lose yourself in ambition, always running toward the future, never pausing to appreciate the present. But if you don't learn to be grateful now, you will never be grateful later, no matter how much you achieve. Gratitude is not tied to circumstances. It is tied to perspective. It is not about having everything. It is about noticing everything you have. For 30 days, if you begin or end your day with gratitude, you will feel the shift. You will no longer live in constant comparison. Because gratitude reminds you that your journey is unique. Your blessings are yours, and your life is enough as it is. Make gratitude a habit in the simplest ways. Write down 3 things each day that you are thankful for. Speak it out loud when you wake up. Share it with someone you love. The more you express it, the more it multiplies. Gratitude attracts abundance, not because it changes the world around you instantly, but because it changes the way you engage with it. Suddenly, the same life feels lighter, brighter, and more meaningful. So, as you walk through these 30 days, let gratitude be your daily anchor. Let it remind you that you are not starting from nothing. You are already blessed with so much to build upon. The best version of you is not created by chasing endlessly after what you don't have, but by cherishing deeply what you do. And when gratitude becomes your foundation, everything else you build, your strength, your courage, your dreams, will stand taller and last longer. So often when we begin a journey of growth, we think only about what we want to achieve. We measure our progress in terms of goals reached, milestones crossed, and external validation. But the truth is, this 30-day challenge is not about achieving more. It is about becoming more. The best version of you is not waiting in the trophies, the titles, or the recognition. It is waiting in the person you are becoming through the process. These 30 days are not a race to arrive somewhere. They are an invitation to peel away the doubts, fears, and limitations that have hidden your true self for far too long. Achievement is temporary. You can win today and lose tomorrow. You can have the applause one moment and face silence the next. But becoming, that is lasting. Becoming is about character, about growth, about the inner transformation that no one can take away from you. If you achieve without becoming, you may succeed on the outside, but remain empty within. But if you focus on becoming, achievement will come as a byproduct. And even if it doesn't, you will still have gained something far greater yourself. For these 30 days, stop asking only, what did I get? Start asking, who am I becoming? When you practice discipline, you become stronger. When you practice kindness, you become softer. When you practice gratitude, you become more present. Every single action you take shapes the person you are becoming. And in the end, that is what defines the best version of you. Not what you have achieved, but who you have become in the process. There will be moments when results are not visible. You may not see the change in your body after one workout, or the difference in your mindset after one day of journaling, or the shift in your spirit after one act of kindness. And that is where many give up. because they are chasing achievement instead of embracing becoming. But becoming is invisible at first. It is subtle, like roots growing deep before the tree is seen. Trust the process, even when you cannot yet see the results, because growth is happening quietly within you. Becoming also means letting go to step into the best version of you. You must release the voices of doubt that tell you that you are not enough. You must let go of the old stories that keep replaying in your mind, telling you that because you failed once, you will fail again. Becoming is not about adding layers to impress the world. It is about removing the layers of fear, shame, and insecurity that have kept you from being fully yourself. The truest version of you does not need to be invented. It needs to be uncovered. And as you uncover yourself, you will find that becoming is not just about you. It is about the impact you leave on others. When you choose to grow, when you choose to rise, when you choose to become the best version of yourself, you give others permission to do the same. Your journey becomes a silent encouragement, a living testimony that transformation is possible. So, as you move through this 30-day challenge, shift your focus. Don't just chase outcomes. Embrace the process. Don't just count achievements. Count the lessons, the resilience, the courage, the compassion you are building each day. Because when the 30 days are over, the real gift will not be in what you have done, but in who you have become. And that, more than anything else, is the true definition of the best version of you.